Conscious Thought, Episode 55, July 29, 2025. Omnirational Universe, Space Awareness. Christina Herlofson, Synergetics Research Project. If metaphysical intellect, as a function of omnirational universe, intends to discover essential solutions to the most complex local problems, its cognitive awareness of omnidirectional system considerations cannot be classified as irrelevant. The most accurately conceived cognitive awareness of space consciously correlates system topological characteristics that are relevant to the inherent interrelationships that divide universes microcosmic insideness space and macrocosmic outsideness space. There is no logical reason for educations of our 21st century generations to omit space awareness of the vector equilibrium and the isotropic vector matrix conceptual models as a potentially relevant anticipatory reality basis. Compared to the PRJWM politics, religion, justice, war, money, problematic scenarios that promote adaptations to manifest realities with no models for omnirational thought and language conscious coordination to consider. Since potential awareness of the isotropic vector matrix was made known but was not widespread in the 20th century, it is understandable why this omission could be the case. Fixations on outer space, such as traveling to outer space, does not necessarily satisfy metaphysical intellect's informed awareness of microcosmic space and macrocosmic space. Either way, the human imagination's inherent ability to formulate conceptually coincides with system awareness that consciously requires knowledge of universe's minimum structural system, self-regenerating energy. Correlatively, with systemic thought's conceptuality of anticipatory design science differentiations and integrations prior to depending on every trial and error explored survival stratagem. The difference is conceptual, in quotes. Conceptual equal imaginable, end quote. Since every newly born generation of humans is born into a larger womb of total human consciousness from Synergetics Dictionary, October 1970, then matrix awareness is critical to altering the courses of our history in the making as we individually adjust the a priori thought to a total reality of universal principles referential to metaphysical physical universe and the matrix's most astutely mensurated models of energy quanta. This can be in hopes not only of escaping the womb of permitted ignorance that keeps our humanity bound in self-defeating delusions that can be further promoted by multimedia production, but also for innovating omnirationally derived realities. Multimedia productions like YouTube crime drama movie Bonnie and Clyde, starring Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson, attempt impressing tuning in mentalities of its supposedly salient points in the human condition that collectively inspire the talents involved as a function potential of the reenacting articulations that intend evoking emotional reactions, not necessarily technical, inquisitive introspection, nor imagination's inherent ability to generalize concepts and formulate conceptually systemic thoughts, consciously coordinated cognitive awareness to differentiate human events from energy events, referentially to vector equilibrium and the isotropic vector matrix. See Synergetics 502.22 EISEDP. In Synergetics 502.22, we can learn that among human events is the acronym EISEDP. Experiences, intuition, speculations, experiments, discoveries, productions. The process is non-identically repetitive, irreversible succession. Obviously, the word experience comes before thinking, and so does it at the outset of a production, not only of the historical human events, but also the consciously astute recollections of the individual participants' experiences, all of which involves the most subtle nuances of reenacting behaviors articulating throughout the human condition that unwittingly sets the point of no return in absences of forethought to every degree, as intuition precedes speculation and hypothetically precludes the mind's rational considerations when there is no conscious awareness of space as the aggregate of all the vector equilibrium nulls. How can zero size come to mind before the human psyche's tormented defensive offensive desperation subconsciously reacts to the seemingly irreparable imbalances that offer no remedial self-assurance of life on Earth as our humanity's purposeful coexistence, where factoring in recompense can be adjudged par for the maladaptive objectives? Yet, none of those reenacting articulations are relevant to identifying the point of origin for metaphysical intellect's cognitive awareness of space as the aggregate of all vector equilibrium nulls, of all magnitudes and frequencies, of all isotropic vector matrices that are always potentially articulatable, omnidirectional, in all directions. Synergetics 526.191. Such differentiation and integration potentially can derive from rudimentary awareness of system and space, since, in quotes, system is all the relevant thoughts think-aboutableness versus space, which is all the unthinkaboutable irrelevancy, which gives us a lot to consider. That once was totally unfamiliar, but wholly WHOLLY relevant to future progressions. Synergetics 526.19. The future progression ideals are modifications only in forward time, but the historical miscalculations tend to haunt the mind's unresolved issues without yet identifying the contextual parameter of the human conditions within the interrelated variables of the PRJWM, We are programmed by the PRJWM's indefinitely extended contextual parameters. Those parameters perpetually omit informing the human mind's receptive, rudimentary inquisitiveness, officiated thus by default slave mentality educated ignorance of the precise number of variables compared to the most economical design. This can drastically induce more ramifying culminations as retaliatory reactions without the perpetrator having any consciously coordinated awareness of the underlying problem. Surely, identifying the underlying problem must eventually be relevant, either to admitting or omitting consciously coordinated thought and action concerning the only two possible covariables that are operative in all universe design, which is modification of angle and frequency. Such educated relevance is more economical when showing how systems can behave relative to unity in self and universe compared to any PRJWM contrived realities, including now the AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. Until next time, thank you from Christina Herlofson.